Good evening and welcome to this year's Renovators Home Tour Virtual Edition. My name is Amy Ballestier and I work with Lancaster, Lebanon Habitat for Humanity as well as with the committee behind this year's Renovators Home Tour. And on behalf of both of these teams, thank you for joining us tonight. We have such a great show ahead of us, and yes, admittedly I am biased, but there has been so much talent and creativity and time poured into tonight's show, and we really think that you're going to enjoy it. If you're familiar with home tours of years past, you know that our committee brings together a lineup of homes that guests can walk through and see the renovations, as well as hear from the people behind the projects about their design-making decisions. Well, this year we weren't able to do a live event, but thanks to a camera, we can bring the renovations to you. So tonight, you will see 5 homes in all shapes and sizes and styles, and you will hear from the homeowners, architects, or builders behind the project. Additionally, for the first time ever, you're going to get to see a Habitat for Humanity home currently under renovation, which we've never been able to do before. The show tonight is designed to be inspirational, education, and it'll teach you a thing or two maybe about design tips or design trends. And just as importantly, it'll make you laugh. So we're here to entertain you as well. In addition to all of these things, tonight's show is also a fundraising event. Over the past 4 years, Renovators Home Tour has raised critical funds for Lancaster, Lebanon Habitat's building efforts to bring affordable home ownership to local families who need a decent place to live. And this year is no exception. However, this year, for the very first time, we have paired a Habitat home with our tour. So if you see on your screen here, you see a picture of a recently acquired property on Howard Avenue in Lancaster. And we are going to renovate this from top to bottom, inside out. And you can see on the porch are the future Habitat homeowners, Manny and Awilda. And this is somewhat breaking news. Manny and Awilda just decided a week or two ago that this was going to be their future Habitat home. And we'll actually get to meet Manny a little bit later. So please, if you are able to, please consider making a gift tonight in support of our renovations on Howard Avenue in Lancaster. We've come up with 3 easy ways that you can make your gift. You can text to give. You can text the word Renotour, that's R-E-N-O-T-O-U-R, to 44321. You can also go online and make an online gift by going to renovatorshometour.com. And lastly, we love snail mail. If you feel more comfortable writing a check and popping that in the mail, our team will let out a little cheer when our mail carrier hands us your gift. And thank you, no gift is too small, and every gift makes a difference. All right, so we have a lot to cover up until 7 o'clock when our tour begins. We're going to kick off our show with some great musical entertainment from the Tuck Ryan Trio in just a moment. But before we take one more step into our pre-show, we have to thank some really incredible people. And if you see on your screen here, this is our home tour committee. If you know any of these people on our committee, please give them an elbow bump or a virtual high five or give them a shout out, because this team has really worked hard to make tonight happen. Back in January, we were thinking of a very different event, but when we came up with our virtual concept, we just ran with it and our team embraced it, and they did an amazing job. Thank you, team. We'd also like to thank our director and cameraman, Ben Mathis, as well as our tour's host, Ian Sanchez-Herasme. These are 2 of the most talented people I know. They have put hour upon hour into the making of this show. Long, hot summer days, 4th of July, they were out there creating this show. We can't thank them enough. Ben and Ian, we tip our Habitat hard hat to you. Okay, let's get to the Tuck Ryan Trio. Take it away, Tuck.
said the right thing, but the mother used the wrong line. I was on the right road, must have been a wrong turn. I was in a bad place, but a man, it sounds good fun. I was in the wrong place, must have been the right time. I must have said the right thing, must have been the wrong line. I must have said the right road, must have been the wrong turn. I must have said the right thing, but it seemed so wrong. I've been running, trying to get hung up in my mind. Just gotta give myself a good talking to this time. Just need a little brain surgery. I got too cute, darling, for my insecurity. I was in the wrong place, must have been the right time. I must have said the right thing, must have been the wrong line. I must have said the right road, must have been the wrong time. I was in the right vein, seems like a wrong.
And thank you to the Tuck Ryan Trio for starting off our show tonight on a high note. If you are just tuning in, my name is Amy Ballastier. Welcome to the Renovators Home Tour Virtual Edition. I will be with you up until the 7 o'clock hour when our tour begins. In the meantime, we have a lot of great information to share with you about the tour, about Habitat, and we'll meet some cool people along the way. So our committee has gotten a lot of questions about what can you expect from a virtual tour. So we want to take a few minutes to share with you what you can expect to see tonight. Our show will be about an hour in length, so you can expect to be with us until about 8 o'clock tonight. Each of our 5 homes will be profiled for about 6 to 7 minutes. You are going to see a home by David Lyle Home and Design, and David himself will be walking us through this home on the west side of Lancaster City. And this space is really a treat for the eyes. You are going to see so much detail in the wall coverings, in the floor, in the fixtures. There's just so much to look at, playful yet sophisticated, a lot of fun in this space. You're also going to see a home presented by Charlie Yo, who is the architect with Capstone Design and Build. And this capstone home sits right on a river outside of Lancaster City, and the views are amazing. So from the inside, great beautiful views from the brand new kitchen and living space. You go outside and there's this wonderful outdoor living space with fire pit, a wading pool, a kitchen, so a lot to see in this home. We're also going to see 2 homes that are going to be delivered by the homeowners themselves. John and Mara McGran of Penstone will be taking us through their family's home on the west side of Lancaster City. This home was built in the late 1800s, and Mara and John really wanted to maintain the integrity of the home's original design. So while they were updating their kitchen, they really kept that in mind. A butler's pantry we'll see, and utility space that any parent or grown-up would love, and an outdoor screened-in porch that allows you to enjoy the seasons almost all year round. And we have a home that is going to be shown to us by the dynamic duo of DIY, Eric and Roxanne McRoberts. Eric and Roxanne are no strangers at all to renovations. They've done several full renovations, and this renovation is actually their new home, which they just moved into. They spent 2.5 years working on it. And the transformation you see from where they started to where they finished is just amazing. You are also going to see as our fifth home, a Lancaster, Lebanon Habitat future home in Lebanon. We've never been able to show a Habitat home under construction before, but thanks to a camera, we can take you safely onto the construction site, and you can see what goes into making a house a home. Now, our tour host, Ian, is going to be taking you to each home, and we'll meet the homeowners, and he'll get the story behind the renovations, and he'll fill in those in-between segments between each home. Now, normally you might think this is a good place to maybe go get a snack or refresh your drink or maybe text a few people, but we urge you, do not go anywhere. These moments are funny. They are meant to entertain you, so get everything that you need right now, have it all within arm's reach, because we don't want you to go anywhere. Stay with us up until 8 o'clock. And to prove my point, we are going to share with you the first collaboration of our director and cameraman, Ben, and our host, Ian, in a Restore video. And yes, our Lancaster Habitat Restore has an official video. Ian put together a Restore theme song. He wrote it, he sang it, and Ben thought it was so good that he put a video to it. So we're going to give you a little sneak peek of what you're in for tonight from Ben and Ian. Let's take a look at the video.
I really need a sofa, but my bills are pretty high. My best friend says she knows of a place where I can buy hardware, lumber for projects in the summer. Ugly kitchens can be such a bummer. Cabinets lighted, you'll find by the numbers. Paint supplies, baby, I don't tell no lies. And there's something in your house needs a better home, and it's too heavy, we'll pick it up for free. Your tax-deductible donation helps a family in need. Oh, we rely on friends who donate their time. 1 million cheers for volunteers. Come to Restore. Your purchases, they mean more. Windows, flooring, or even a screen door. Helps empower families in need. Your local community will thrive. Just wait and see. Oh, come to Restore. Your purchases, they mean more. Windows, flooring, or even a screen door. Helps empower families in need. Your local community will thrive. Just wait and see. Oh. And you can find us at 155 Independence Code.
My guess is you will be humming that for the rest of the evening, if not all the way through tomorrow. Super fun video by Ben and Ian, a little sneak peek of what we can expect tonight. If you are not familiar with Lancaster Habitat Restore, we urge you to come by. Restore is Habitat's retail space and donation center. We accept gently used items, home goods, building materials, and then we resell them to the general public. All the sales from Restore go right back into the Habitat mission to support affordable home ownership opportunities for local families who need a decent place to live. So if you are shopping at Restore, if you are donating to Restore, or if you are volunteering at Restore, you are helping to support affordable home ownership. And this is a great place to remind you that you can also support Habitat during tonight's event. Help us renovate the home on Howard Avenue in Lancaster, Manny and Awilda's home on Howard Avenue in Lancaster by texting to give Reno Tour to 44321 or making your online contribution at renovatorshometour.com. And thank you. So we've had a chance to see Ian in action, and we've talked a lot about him, but we are actually going to connect with him right now. He's getting ready to go on tonight's tour, and he should be going out really soon, so we're going to connect with him now via Zoom. Hey Ian, we're so excited for tonight, are you?
I'm so pumped. I'm so excited to see all the homes. I hear they're absolutely beautiful.
Well, they are. We're really lucky that we've worked with a great team of homeowners, designers, and builders. I want to ask you about tonight's home tour, but first, I want to ask you about you. We've talked a lot on the show tonight about your many talents, and I know that you have done a lot of theater work in the Lancaster area. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I've done stuff at Ephrata Performing Arts Center. That's kind of where I started out doing community theater. And also Prima Theater. I did Motown Legends, where I got to sing some Motown classics, Stevie Wonder hits, Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye. It was super fun. And then I've also done work at F&M. We did a really cool like magic realism Spanish play. Unfortunately, we couldn't perform it because of COVID. But yeah, it's really been fun, and I can't wait to see, in the future if I can go back to that, because it's so uncertain now.
Yeah, I think we're all looking to get back to the theater. We have so many great theaters in Lancaster County, and that will be a great day when that happens. And it will come. It will come. Now, as we just saw in the Restore video, you are also a songwriter and singer. And I know that you have a new music venture that you just launched called Pink Eye. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so Pink Eye is my hip hop musical project. I have only released a couple tracks. You can find them on Spotify or SoundCloud if you look up Pink Eye, P-I-N-K, and then I. And we're working on a couple singles. It's house music. It's some hip hop, a little bit of rock. I'm so excited to share with you guys, and hopefully we will see more Pink Eye in the future.
Nice. I hope so. So you heard it here, folks. Check out Spotify, Pink Eye with the letter I. Awesome, Ian. I would love to ask you more about the tour, but actually, I think we're probably getting really close. You probably need to get to your first home, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the limo.
Wait, what? Ian, we didn't get you a limo.
You said we have a limo budget.
I said little budget. We have a little budget. We don't have money in a car. How are you going to get around tonight, Ian? I mean, you got to be at your home in like, what, 10, 15 minutes? Oh. Okay. Ian? Okay, I am sure everything's fine. Ian is on his way to his first home, and I have every confidence that he is going to make it in time for our 7 o'clock start time. Now would be a really good point maybe to switch gears a little bit and talk about our future Habitat home buyers on Howard Avenue for the home that we are renovating. We have a chance tonight to meet Manny Cruz, who along with his wife Awilda and children will be moving into the Habitat home. Manny is involved with Habitat's First Time Homebuyers program. And as a part of this program, all of our future homebuyers must contribute anywhere from 250 to 400 hours of sweat equity prior to purchasing their affordable Habitat home. Sweat equity includes things like taking financial literacy classes so you can learn about budgeting. It includes home maintenance classes so that you learn how to repair your home and maybe save some money rather than having to call someone. It also includes working on your home or a neighbor's home to learn about your home inside and out and how to take care of it. And at the end of the Sweat Equity program, our homeowners arrive in a position of strength to take care of their home and be successful homeowners for many, many years to come. So Manny is in the middle of contributing sweat equity hours towards the purchase of his home. He's done a lot of work with Restore, taken the classes, and he's saving his last 100 hours to work on his Habitat home. And we have a chance to sit down and talk with him tonight. Hi, Manny.
Hello.
Thank you so much for spending time with us on tonight's home tour.
Thank you for having me.
So I really want to ask you what it was like when you and Awilda walked into the Howard Avenue home and looked around and said, this is going to be our home. But rather than jump ahead, maybe the better place to begin is to ask you, why did you decide that you wanted to be a homeowner?
Well, the reason I decided was because I live in a small house with a lot of family members, and it's a very tight spot, and it's in an uncomfortable situation because we don't have much space for each other. One bathroom, have to share it with a lot of people. Being that I live in a tight spot with a lot of family members, it'll be a great experience for me.
And how did you find out about the Habitat homeownership program?
Well, what made me decide to be a Habitat homeowner was I have a cousin that's in the program. She just paid off her mortgage not too long ago. She explained to me how she's been there and how she went through the program and how she's still happy. She still lives in the house, and she still loves her house till this day that she's still there. And she's had a great experience on joining the program. And a lot of the stuff she explained to me made sense of what she explained to me, and I actually enjoyed hearing her part, and now I want to experience it.
Well, we're glad you did. I know that you are you have accumulated a lot of your sweat equity hours, and you are saving your remaining 100 to work on your home with the actual renovation of it. Can you tell us a little bit about this experience of what you've been doing with your sweat equity hours up to now, and then what you expect to learn when you start working on your home?
Well, I've done 300 of these sweat equity hours, and I've been working at the Restore, moving furniture, cleaning, helping load and unload the donations and the stuff that gets sold. Also being able to work with lighting and other things in the Restore.
And your last 100 hours, you said you wanted to save to work on your Habitat home. Do you know about building and construction, or do you anticipate these are skills that you're going to learn?
Yes, I know very little in the trade, but I do want to save it to learn on how to work on my own house, because I know it'll be an awesome experience to be able to learn things in the house, and especially where I'm going to be living in.
Yeah, so you'll be able to make these repairs yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm thinking about when you and Awilda went into the Howard Avenue home. What did you think about when you walked into the space and said, this is going to be right for my family?
When I walked into the house, the first thing I saw was a lot of space. Being able to go into the house and seeing all the space that I have for my wife, my daughter, and myself, knowing that my daughter will have her own room to be able to design her own way and be able to have my space to do all my stuff that I like gardening and stuff like that, and my wife being able to design the house the way she wants to inside and decorate the house. It's going to be a great experience to be able to say this house was the perfect one for me.
Right, and that's an important thing, to be able to make a space your own.
Yes.
Yeah. So how do you envision, a year from now, 5 years from now, your life will change being a homeowner?
It'll change because I know I have all my space. I'll be able to live in a private home with my family, be able to be in a comfortable spot where I know that it won't be a crowded house, that it'll be my family and we're able to do everything together, in a more organized way, and also being able to realize that, being able to know that I own the house and that it's not a rented, it's also an awesome experience.
And we're so happy for you, Manny, to have you in our program, and our staff can't wait until the day that you and your family move into your Habitat home and we can celebrate with you. So thank you for spending time with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you again to Manny for sitting down with us tonight to share his experience with Habitat with all of you. One thing I would like to note, Manny has pretty much finished his sweat equity hours. He's already contributed 300. He's saving his last 100 so that he can work on his Habitat home. Yet Manny still comes to Restore every week to lend a hand. So Manny, you are a true friend to Restore and Habitat. We thank you, and we cannot wait for the day that you and your family will be moving into your Habitat home. Okay, so we are almost at 7 o'clock. We are ready to present to you our tour for tonight, but before we do, we want to thank some pretty great people. Renovators Home Tour Committee, thank you again for all of the hard work that you've put into tonight's event. Of course, Ben Mathis, Ian Sanchez-Herasme, for hours that you have put into making this event so special. PSECU for their ongoing sponsorship support. Of course, our homeowners, our designers, our architects, all of those who have opened up doors to show us their great renovations. And we want to thank our restaurant partners, Blazing Jays, the Scarlet Runner, and Max's Eatery, for helping this be a very delicious event, add some community spirit to it. And to you, thank you for tuning in tonight. Thank you for your contributions. We are ready to go. So I am proud to present to you the 5th annual Renovators Home Tour Virtual Edition.
Hello, welcome to the first ever virtual Renovators Home Tour. My name is Ian and I will be your tour guide today. So the plan was to go from home to home in a nice limo with AC, but apparently there's no money for that. But that's okay because I'm very resourceful and I got it all handled. Anyway, I'm really excited to see you guys, and why don't we get started? Hello guys.
Hi, Ian.
How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
So our first stop is this lovely home built in 1893 on Lancaster's West Chestnut Street. I'm joined here today with the owners, John and Mara. They live here with their family. They're also the owners of Penn Stone, which has been a sponsor for the Renovators Home Tour for 5 years. So thank you guys so much. So the current trend is to knock down walls to create more space, but you guys decided against that.
Well, we've lived here for about 15 years, and to be honest, we've had about 4 different designs for this renovation, including taking out some walls. We ultimately decided not to because there are a lot of features in the house that we really are pretty attached to. Our back stairs, our side door, and also it was really important to honor the space as it was built. Our kitchen is still our kitchen, but it was when it was built. So ultimately we decided against it.
All right, and word around the block is that you guys had an interesting discovery when you were renovating. Do you want to share a little bit about that?
Sure. We had a great contractor, Andy Muma, who is extremely talented, great designer, great carpenter, and also a great sense of humor. A lot of fun to work with. And one weekend after he had been demoing, he said he cleaned up, he texted us, said, come on through, and left us to discover the giant wasp's nest that he had discovered in the rafters, and got a good laugh out of us realizing that they were there. So luckily they weren't active. They were really, really old, but still quite the discovery.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, let's head inside.
First space you enter in our house, we love our front door. It's a Dutch door, actually, and it's got some great detail on it. You enter into our vestibule. We have this original wall treatment, which when we moved in was just kind of a tan color, and so I did paint it to kind of match the Victorian era, but this is probably about as Victorian as it gets in our house, because we have a little bit of everything in here. You enter, we still have the original leaded glass double doors to make it a true vestibule. The house has never been subdivided. It's always been a single family home. We also have the original tile still in here, which is in very good shape. So use those colors to kind of figure out what colors we would use in the vestibule. You enter a traditional hallway. We have the original newel post. I did strip the paint off of this, but that's as far as I got. The other interesting thing in our house, some of the light fixtures actually come from a family home, which was designed by C.M. Lynn Urban in Manheim Township. And unfortunately, the house was torn down a few years ago, but we did salvage the lights from it, and we've put them in here, and they fit the period of the house exactly. And C.M. Lynn Urban actually designed a number of the homes in our neighborhood. So we don't know about this one, not sure, but we thought that was a nice tribute and a nice way to salvage those. One thing I really love about the house is that we still have all of our pocket doors in these rooms. We use these a lot in the winter, because we spend a lot of time in our living room, and it's a great way to keep the heat in. When we first moved in, the fireplace in here was simply tiled over. Excavated it, thinking we would get to use an actual wood-burning fireplace, but that wasn't going to work out because there never was one. So we actually installed a natural gas heater, basically, and it's got a remote control, but what was really important to us to make it look like it fit the house. A big renovation we just did last year is our kitchen. So this is what we came up with. It works within the existing space, so this has always been the kitchen in this house. A big feature was that this was a hearth, and it was still a lot of brick. The people had put cabinets in around it for the last renovation. Nobody wanted to touch it because it seemed structural. And in fact, when we designed the kitchen, we were still designing around. The exciting thing was we got into demo, and our contractor realized that in fact it wasn't structural and it could go away. So I was thrilled because we ended up being able to put in a really nice glass cabinet, and I like to be able to see that all the way through the house, and it really brings a lot of light and a lot of space. One of the big features, because in a house this tall, it's really important to utilize the upper space, and we store things that we don't use a lot up there, and it just makes the space feel a lot bigger. One of the redesign features, there was a closet under the back stairs that was incredibly awkward. It was my primary storage for all of my pots and pans, baking things, and going in and out of it, you invariably hit your head. So we did actually demo all of it, and it became the place for the stove. Main feature in the kitchen, I would say, is our island. We worked with a designer, Emily Rodriguez, and she really helped us decide what this looked like. I wanted it to look a lot like furniture, so it's a different color, but didn't know what to do with the top. I knew I wanted something wood, and she actually introduced us to a man named Ben Shirk, who does reclaimed wood, and you actually go and pick your wood and it's not finished, and he bookended it together, so it made it into a slab, and it was an unfinished slab, and Andy Muma, our builder, finished it. So it was kind of a collaboration of a lot of people, and we're so excited about how it turned out. The final interior renovation that we did last year was our laundry room, and I think over the years, it was called the summer kitchen. So it ended up being the laundry room, and it was the worst layout ever. Originally, our washer and dryer were here, so you walked around those. We had a single room which held the toilet, and then the center of the room held a shower stall which opened into the backyard and also was built in front of this window. And then there was a tiny powder room sink in the corner. So really there was nothing about it that worked. But as a result, really, we just rearranged the space, and it's unbelievable how much we've gained. We decided to put a wet bar in and have another sink. It's great for coffee. We store other beverages in here. and we ended up making this into a powder room. The toilet sits exactly where it did in the original space, but we fit a sink into it as well. Our washer and dryer still are in this room. The plumbing couldn't sit behind them, so it needed to fall under this window. Our builder said, hey, how about a window seat? That way I can hide the plumbing and you gain storage and you gain a window seat, and that also is one of my very, very favorite features. Final big renovation piece that we incorporated is a screen porch, which we've always wanted. This was a really interesting space because it was a couple steps down to a concrete slab under an existing porch. There were also a couple sheds that were attached to the wall. One of them had actually been a bathroom and was used for a number of years, not when we moved in, but we decided that we really wanted to raise the level up so it could become part of the living space, and using stone, because that is what we sell at our business. We do a flagstone bottom. And we were lucky that our builder was able to simply tuck it under the existing porch rather than having to tear everything off. And he did a tremendous job. He designed it. One really cool thing that he did that is one of my very favorite things is that it was held up by two old growth posts. The porch was held up by those. And in the process, he took those off. One actually got built back in. You can see he built two shelves out of the original post. And it's very, very old growth, really dense pine. He designed metal straps to fasten it to the brick wall, and I'm just thrilled. And it actually, the shelves sit 2 feet from where the post sat for 127 years. So I think that's just the best reuse of a material that I've ever seen.
Mara, thank you so much for letting us into your home. Your home is beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
And we have one in the books. And this is a good time to remind everyone that the Renovators Home Tour supports Lancaster Lebanon Habitat's mission. And if you feel so inclined to, please go on renovatorshometour.com to make a donation. So I have to get to the next home, and I'm in need of a ride. Is there any way you can help? It isn't far. There's just like a river, you know.
Oh, well, I have a kayak.
Well, I haven't used one since the Olympics, but I think I can manage. Thanks, Mara.
Oh, good luck. Bring it back when you're done.
Hey Ian, how you doing?
Doing well, and yourself?
Not bad. Did you have any trouble finding it?
Oh, no, it was a breeze.
I'm here with Charlie Yo from Capstone Design and Build.
If I'm not mistaken, this did start out as a garage renovation.
Yeah, that's correct. So we got the original call. The owner wanted to build a garage. It was mainly for his hobby of restoring cars. And as we were working through that project, they brought to our attention that they really wanted to create a covering for their small deck that was up at the back of the house.
Okay.
That was part two, and then eventually we worked our way into the kitchen, worked our way down into addition for the children's rooms on the far side.
And I really like the blue against the natural stone. Is this something you thought about when you began?
Absolutely. One of the dominant characteristics of the old house was the original brick is a calico brick. We had talked about painting that. In the end, we elected just to keep the brick as it was, but we're trying to transition away from that brick just because it really does dominate the color palette. So we went from that into a stucco, because that again is a masonry material, and then from the stucco into the more stacked stone look on the porch addition and the landscaping. The blue siding was a departure. The original siding was a dark brown. I'm sure you've seen it, but it made the house look very dark and heavy. So we lightened that up with a blue. So it really helps to accentuate the Douglas fir timber on the addition.
Cool. Well, why don't we get started?
All right, follow me. So often when we get a phone call from a client saying that they want a garage, it's not a particularly interesting project. It doesn't get me super excited. And that's how this project started. But immediately upon talking to the client, he expressed interest in a home for his enthusiasm for fixing up cars. And also he wanted extra volume for a future vehicle lift that he could get under the car and so on. So that created some challenges, especially considering that we are dealing with a ranch-style house and we knew we didn't want a huge 16-foot door facing the street. One of the features that we talked about early on in design of the garage space and as it began to take shape was that we really wanted to maximize natural light in the space. We didn't want it to feel like a dark cavern. So the walls are light colored. We created a clear story window which provides daylight into the future loft space, but also gives plenty of light down over the workspace in this location. So while we were working on the design of the garage, the owner said the previous owner to them did some renovations that it was obvious to us that they weren't a big fan of the California ranch style. They had some gables and some arched windows, things that really just were counter-stylistic to that. While we were conceptualizing what we were going to do with the kitchen, we were also at the same time thinking about the exterior style and how we can bring this thing back to that California ranch origin. So the kitchen was in this location here. There was an 8-foot wall that brought you into a brick fireplace, and then there was another 8-foot wall that brought you into the brick fireplace here. Really, your only entry into the kitchen was through this portal here. Immediately, once we decided that we could move the kitchen over and start manipulating the roof lines over the kitchen, and the project took off. With this lofted volume, again, your eye's kind of drawn up into that space, and one of the first features that you land on is the centerpiece of the fireplace. And then likewise, like as your eye kind of drifts across, you come to this wall. We knew that the wall over the range was going to be very important to deal with and how we connect that into the space. So we really envisioned that as more of an extension of the wall. So it is a lighter color. And these pilasters that run down either side of the range bring your eye down to the more horizontal cabinetry. When we're working on jobs like this, where we do see an opportunity to open up some space and create those visual connections from one space to the other, what we like to do is either accentuate elements like the fireplace or create elements like the banquette that help to subdivide the spaces. So we did integrate a lot of storage into the home in places that we saw an opportunity. One such opportunity was this wall. We made this wall a little bit thicker and created a tilt-out cubby here where they could stick some of their papers, and there's even a little spot for their pencils and pens, but it's out of the way and it's easy to clean up from the table when it's time to eat. So I had mentioned previously that this was the former doorway into the kitchen here. When we were creating the kitchen design and creating this long horizontal countertop, we also thought to create a fully functional hutch that would service the dining room from this side. So this is a full 24-inch deep base cabinet. And then on that side, which on the mirror side of that is that vertical element to the other side of the range, we used that opportunity to create a glass-faced cabinet where they could display their glassware. So the son's room now is in this addition, back through here. And again, in the theme of creating intimate spaces, we chose to create a window bay in keeping with the California ranch theme. It has a small shed roof over the window bay. And during construction, we realized that we actually created this void in the construction that we saw as an opportunity to create a loft space for the son. So there is a rolling ladder here that when he wants to go up there, he just slides it over and pops up there. And I'm told that he uses it quite a bit to read and get away. One of the things we found out after construction that we would consider a happy accident is we don't have any outlets up there in the loft space. And the parents told us that they're actually grateful for that because the son does spend a lot of time up there and it does not give him the opportunity to sit on a device for longer than the battery can handle. What we talked about on the inside with creating intimate spaces within a larger volume, we tried to do the same thing out here. So again, we have the larger volume, but we wanted to create a more intimate dining area and then a separate living area. So we actually used a terrace between the two, which really helps to cascade your view down the hill, but it does create that intimacy. So we use that opportunity to create a 30-inch bar counter here. There are some stools here that you can sit and overlook the view. And then in this lower living area, there is a wood-burning fireplace that functions well to keep you warm in the late fall months and so on. But it also does a great job at blocking that afternoon sun from the southwest exposure. The other objective is we had the deck and we had the patio, but they really weren't well connected. So we really wanted to use this as an opportunity to create a strong connection between these living areas. We worked with a landscape architect. His name is Michael Young and Associates, and he created this water feature and this patio design below.
Hey Charlie, thank you so much for that tour. That house is beautiful.
Great, glad you liked it.
So I have to get on to the next home. You don't happen to have like a bike?
No.
Or a skateboard?
No.
What about a pogo stick?
That's in the shop, sorry.
I mean, a hoverboard is fine too.
No.
1986 Ford Pinto?
I have a Fiat Punto.
Magic carpet?
That just flew away.
Conga line?
No.
Griffin?
Sorry, Ian.
Nuclear submarine?
Yeah, I can't find it.
Do you have a herd of cats?
Sorry, they're untamed.
One of Hannibal's battle elephants?
I do actually have one of those,
Okay.
but it's marching.
A Segway?
Battery's charging.
Do you have a goat?
He's eating.
Jet ski?
No.
What about one of those modern lawnmowers with the like steering wheel?
No.
A Seabiscuit?
Oh, he's visiting the glue factory.
Secretariat?
He's with his friend.
Hot air balloon? Warm air balloon? Lukewarm air balloon? Do you have like a lizard I could get on the back of?
Yeah, but the saddle's at the shop.
Tricycle?
It's only got 2 wheels.
Unicycle?
Can't find the wheel.
Learjet?
No.
A team of sled dogs?
No.
One sled dog?
No.
A DeLorean time machine? Horse and buggy? What about just the horse? Okay, just the buggy's fine too. Roller skates?
No.
A Cadillac? I'll just settle for a surfboard then, that's fine. Do you have any bat wings?
No.
What about the Victorious Angels wings? I think if I move them hard enough, I could probably get some air.
No.
Are you a good thrower? I mean, you could just launch me there.
Good idea, but no.
Football team to carry me off, not unlike a coach that just won the championship?
They lost.
Motorcycle?
No.
Gondola?
No.
Rickshaw?
No.
Mule?
No.
Well, I'm gonna have to just walk then.
Well, I do have a trebuchet over here that I've been working on.
Okay.
Oh, you might need this.
All right, so this is my first time riding a trebuchet, and well, it's not a limo, but it'll do. All right. What gas does this take? Ooh, let's check in with Doug and Beth.
Ouch, that seems like it might have hurt.
I really hope Ian is okay. Hi, I'm Beth Andrew, and this is Doug Smith. We are part of the Renovators Home Tour Committee.
While Ian collects himself, we wanted to thank you for tuning in this evening. We also wanted to remind you that your gift will help build a future Habitat home right here in Lancaster on Howard Avenue.
Your gift will help build a safe, affordable home for a local family needing a decent place to live.
You know, a home opens up so many opportunities: education, healthcare, and the ability to save money.
And if there's one thing we've learned in the past 6 months, we all need a place to call home. And if you're able to donate, please text this number now.
And again, thank you so much for tuning in, and most of all, thank you for your support. Do you think Ian's ready to go?
You got this, Ian.
Go, Ian.
Roxanne, Eric, how are you guys?
Great, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. So Roxanne and Eric are the designers and builders of this beautiful home. So I've seen the before and after pictures, and the changes are quite dramatic. What spoke to you about this home when you first walked by it?
I think the number one thing that drew us to it was the fact that it had a garage door opening off of Walnut Street. There are just very few homes on Walnut Street that have that, and that's a real luxury in the city. Second, the fact that it was 2 properties in one allowed us to kind of work on one side and rent the other side while we were working on it. And I think the third thing, when we walked around to the back of the alley, there was also potentially 2 off-street parking spaces. So in the city, that's gold.
So you two are not strangers to designing and building. Can you tell me a little bit more about your experience and how long you've been working on this home?
I've been working on this for about 2 years, maybe.
And I would say
slowly, because we weren't planning to move.
So we're downsizing from about a 3,000 square foot house to a 1,500 square feet. So obviously get rid of a lot of furniture. And we're excited to be downtown Lancaster residents too. I think it's going to be very exciting with everything happening in the city.
All right, well, thank you for sharing.
Sure.
Why don't we get started?
So when we purchased the property, it was actually a 3-car garage that was about 60 feet deep. So you could actually, where we're standing is where there were 3 potential cars parked. That made the property very attractive, but we had the vision to basically turn it into a 1-car garage, and then the back portion of the building became a 2nd bedroom. One of the other interesting things that we found out about the property is when we tried to increase the depth of the basement which is in the house right next to us, which is also part of this property. As soon as we dug a hole, we found that it filled up with water immediately, right to the surface, which meant that there's a very high water table here. So did a little bit of research trying to figure out what was going on. We talked to our neighbors. They all have problems with water in their basements as well. And we found out that Water Street is called Water Street for a reason. Water Street back in the 1700s used to be an open stream that ran through the city, and it basically tied into the Conestoga River. In the mid-1700s, basically they put in a storm sewer underground, and they essentially buried the stream below ground. But essentially that's the reason that this area has such a high water table, is because basically Water Street used to be an open stream. What you're looking at behind us basically used to be the roof of the garage. It was one story. That entire roof was removed and the second story was added. We added a brick chimney, and basically it becomes our great room, dining room, and then obviously right behind us here is the kitchen with the wet bar to our right here. One of the trends that we're seeing at our office in kitchen design, and we're seeing this nationally, is the idea of going with all drawers instead of doors, which you might traditionally do. It is actually much more ergonomic to access the drawers this way versus trying to get down to the bottom of a drawer. So we see that as a nice design trend, plus really like the look of it. It gives it a little more of a contemporary feel. One of the other things that we see in downsizing is the idea of going with smaller appliances. In this case, we're actually going to be using an 18-inch wide dishwasher, which, since it'll be just Roxanne and myself living here, 18-inch dishwasher will be plenty. There's another side to the kitchen, which is kind of the entertainment side. This side includes just some general cabinets with a nice small bar sink, and then a separate refrigerator that we're going to be using for beverages.
I do have to mention that it's only a few steps from the other refrigerator, but beer guys.
It's important to have a beer fridge. So in keeping with the kind of industrial modern look, we went with Marvin windows. They are fiberglass windows that have the horizontal muntins. We like the look of that, and we're kind of carrying that look throughout the entire house. One of the other things that we like to do is kind of bring the outside materials into the house. So in this case, we built a new brick fireplace, but there are other places within the house that you'll see that we simply painted the existing brick so that it kind of gives us a nice old and new kind of feel. We added kind of the gas fireplace, and we again reused some of the old wood from the property. This was an old beam that we restored, so we get kind of an interesting mantle to the project as well. Because this great room has a nice high ceiling, we thought kind of an industrial fan made sense. So we increased, not a size fan you'd normally put in a house, not a look maybe you'd normally put in a house, but we thought it really was in keeping with kind of the style of this particular house.
On this back wall, we decided we wanted the whole wall to be an entertainment system and storage. Since we're downsizing, we definitely need to have places that have storage. These obviously aren't finished yet, but the stereo equipment stuff will be in there, and then there'll be doors on most everything else because you have to hide a lot of stuff. And then up here we'll have shelves, but what I like about it is we're using a live edge spalted maple countertop. We use some live edge or some spalted maple in the kitchen. There'll be shelves here, same thing. So the real natural wood will pull through. We did put the windows up high. We're in the city, so we live right next to another property and didn't really want to be looking in windows. We are going to put a sliding ladder across here, library ladder. The kids think that's kind of fun. Really just to get to the windows. I don't know how much library is going to be here, but just to get to the windows. And then this is the brick that Eric had mentioned. That is the old brick that was where the roof line came to. The roof was here above the garage and went over and tipped down. So that's the real brick, that's the new brick, but we painted it together so it would match. And one thing that we wanted to mention is we used kept a lot of the old beams and things to tie old in with the new. And this was a fireplace that was buried behind a bunch of other stuff. And we uncovered it, and we were deciding what we were going to do with it, whether we were going to build around it and kind of camouflage it or keep it. And everyone that saw it, and we agreed, we wanted to keep it and show something that was old. We're going to introduce newer, more modern boxes in here. There'll be like little shelves, and then there'll be shelves in here. So this is one of the things that we really like about the house because it was here.
So one of the things about this house, as I mentioned earlier, it's about 1,500 square feet. The key is to try to make that 1,500 square feet live bigger than it actually is. And there's a number of things that we've done here, I think, that help that. One is introducing a lot of windows, a lot of high windows that bring daylight into the space. Opening up ceilings, obviously, as much as we can, which you can see here. And then even with the doors we have going from the living room to the bedroom to the bathroom, we stayed with the horizontal feel here, and we introduced glass so that we actually get borrowed light into our main bathroom off of the bedroom here. So this is another example of how we kind of changed the look of the building on the inside and on the outside. This front wall used to be 3 of these windows. There were 2 more of them here. So what we did is we actually took out the brick between the two windows. We bumped a bay window out, which brings a lot more daylight in. And even from the outside of the building, it gives kind of the elevation of the outside, kind of a whole new look that it didn't have before. So we think that really helped make the space feel a little bigger than it actually is. So this is the main bathroom off of our bedroom. A couple things that we did in here. Obviously went with tile, kind of almost a zero kind of threshold shower. And a Kia cabinet again. We had some leftover granite from the kitchen, so we decided to use that in the bathrooms as well. This will end up getting a custom window that looks just like the exterior windows. It'll get a translucent glass, so again, it brings borrowed light in from the light well. We used a dark tile on the floor, and then as you can see, we went with kind of a feature wall on the back here, a much smaller tile, but a much more kind of interesting pattern than we have anywhere else in the bathroom. This will get a shower, kind of a glass wall here, which we work with Hal's Glass downtown, and that should be coming in a couple of weeks. So when we purchased the property, this was the efficiency that I'm standing in right now, which was about 400 square feet directly above the garage. You entered this efficiency through a door that was on the other side, the main stairwell right here. This particular side had an attic, and we decided to go ahead and open up that attic to the bedroom. Used to access this attic basically through an opening that was right here into a loft that's on the other side. It's not big, it'll simply be a small sitting area. Probably get used a lot in the wintertime. We'll get some built-in bookcases on each side, and then you're also going to get the light from the light well. This bench will obviously get finished in the same wood that the other bench was done in. And off in the distance there, you can see the metal roof. All of the new additions on this property were mono-pitch roofs, and because the pitch was only 1 in 12, we decided to go with the metal roof. It's a little more contemporary looking, and we just thought it was a nicer solution for the roofs for the new construction.
Thank you guys so much for the tour. I really enjoyed it.
Thanks, it was a lot of fun, and we're always happy to support Habitat.
Well, I have a long walk to Lebanon, so I must hit the road, but it's been lovely being here. Thank you guys.
Thanks so much.
Have a good day,
Good
Ian.
to see you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I'll be halfway there. Oh, thank goodness. Lemonade.
That'll be $20.
That seems a bit outrageous, don't you think?
Supply side economics. I've got the supplies, you're on the side of the road. Plus, you're in no position to negotiate.
I just don't have $20.
That's a nice watch you got there.
Hey, Ian.
Hi, Andrew. It's a long story. I'm here with Andrew Soleil, the Executive Director of Habitat. So this is the first time that we actually have a Habitat home on the tour. And it looks like you guys are actually working on 3 homes. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
That's right. We've got 3 Habitat homes right here. We're really excited thanks to the partnership with the city and the county. They're right here on Main Street, Cumberland Street. It's the gateway from Reading and Philadelphia. Anyone going down to the Business Improvement District are going to see these 3 homes.
And these homes look like they're pretty old. I'm sure there's some history behind them. Do you mind sharing a little bit about them?
Sure. So they're going way back into the old historic history of the city. And these 3 homes weren't just hit by one fire. They were hit by 2 fires. And it's possibly significant damage. And they were talking about how are we going to be able to repair them? How are we going to take care of it so there's not blight? And one of the ideas was actually make it into a parking lot. But coming down this beautiful street, you would notice the gap. We were the ones that were able, with a very heavy subsidy, be able to do all the demolition, take it all out, keep the original historic facades, and keep the architectural details, and still make them really beautiful homes for our first-time home buyers.
All right, so let's get started.
Welcome, guys. Come on inside here. All right, so I brought you in here because I wanted you to get a sense of what we're starting with. And this is after we've done some of the framing to make it a safe structure, but you can see what we had to gut in here due to the extensive fire damage. It made more sense for us to take all the interior framing out just for safety purposes and also in our reframing of everything, redesigning of it. And you can still see some of the window trim that is intact, the original trim, which we will try and match the best that we can. We'll do energy efficient windows while keeping the architectural look of the original structure. But as you can see here, because of the extensive fire damage, we had to replace the roof. And right now we have the floor joists in for the 3rd floor, and we have our base floor in here. And what you're seeing with this framework here is what we had to bring it to get it volunteer ready. So next, if you wouldn't mind walking with me, we're going to go see our furthest along house, and so you can really see what it starts to look like when it comes together. All right, so here it is. Welcome to the 2nd floor of our most completed home. What you have in front of you is the master bedroom with the master bath. I am standing in the common bathroom, and then behind me are the other 2 bedrooms, which complete up our 3-bedroom home. And then up the staircase is our comfortable attic space, which provides a lot of storage for the family. So coming through here, you really get to have a perspective of the home that we just came through in that empty space and what it's going to turn into. With the incredible help of our volunteers to get us to this point. You know, we couldn't do it without them. They've worked diligently and they've been very dedicated. You know, and they're proud of the work that they do, and we are grateful to have them. We're grateful for their time. You know, you walk through here and you can see the spaces, you can visualize a bed in the bedroom, a chair in a corner, whatever it is. You know, you can really feel it becoming a home. It's not just a shell anymore. You know, and pretty soon the homeowner is going to be able to come in and they're going to start to be able to pick out their floor coverings or the countertops. All of those little things that make it unique to them, that make it feel like it is their home.
Thank you so much, Matt. That was a great tour, and we really appreciate your time. Now I have a 25-mile walk back to Lancaster, so better get going.
Just take the restore truck.
Really?
Hey, how are you?
Doing well?
Good to see you.
You too. I'm here on the last home of our tour, a renovation on the west side of Lancaster, and I'm joined by David Lyle, who is the owner of David Lyle Home and Design, who actually led the interior design project. So, David, can you tell us exactly what we're going to see today?
Sure. Well, this particular client, I would kind of describe her style as more bohemian luxury. And to kind of get there, we go through a lot of conversations, of course, and then we get into color boards, you know, all that. But in the end, I usually find that if anyone walks into the space and can really identify it as a David Lyle design project, I haven't done my job. It's really more about capturing the client and expressing their personality. You're going to see today my client's personality really step out front and center.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing. Why don't we get started?
Beautiful. The space that we're standing in now is actually an addition onto the original structure. You'll be able to tell by some of the beams how we incorporated the new addition and made it feel seamless. That was sort of our goal. A few of the features of the kitchen, we wanted an open feel. Wanted to make sure it was something that didn't necessarily feel like a traditional kitchen because it ties into the family room living space. It was important to the homeowner that we stay away from the basic white cabinet. As beautiful as they are, her style, her aesthetic really pushed us towards something that was a little bit more daring, but when I say daring, not in over-the-top way. The color of the cabinets is a beautiful teal, but if you'll notice how it sort of blends into the slate floor, it's a really, really soft graduation. So it's one of the things I tell to a lot of my clients, don't be afraid of color. Even color that might seem strong, done the right way and layered the right way, can really come off beautiful and subtle. For a little bit of movement in this otherwise sort of rectilinear space, I added a beautiful quartz that has a great, kind of oversized pattern. One of the coolest features of the kitchen is the glass backsplash tile. Each of the individual tiles are handmade. They're antique mirror. The idea was we wanted to sort of continue the open feeling of the windows right over onto the dead space of the wall, so it creates some reflection. The other thing that it does is we didn't really want the hood to be the focus of the space. We wanted the architecture, the windows, the view. By doing a very, very classic, clean line, modern hood, paired with the backsplash tile, it sort of disappears, becomes very subordinate. An expression of my client is the fact that she loves animal motifs, things that are playful and interesting, a little bit bohemian and, just kind of cool and edgy. So as we move from space to space, you'll see lots of tigers and you'll see a lot of things that might have more of an Asian influence to them. One of the things that I'll point out is the beautiful artisan chandelier. Everything in the house has a feel that isn't too precious, but there's a luxe overtone. So we have the branches that signify the organic, and then we have the crystals that kind of signify the luxe. I think it's a beautiful complement to the space. The contractor on this project, Chris Kreider from CK Builds, created some beautiful floating wood shelves out of reclaimed wood. This was her need for polish and organic. Overall, I think it's really a very unique space, very livable, very comfortable. Welcome to the dining room. This space is really just an extension of the kitchen. What we did here is really just try to, again, create a space that reflects the client's personality. Her love of this wallpaper was sort of the impetus of the entire space. One of the things that I like to point out is the table and the buffet that you see are both family heirlooms. What we've done to kind of make them a little bit more modern, make them feel a little bit fresher, is pair them with some interesting eclectic chairs. These are done in a metallic finish. The juxtaposition of the two creates a real eclectic feel. Another really cool element would be the chandelier. French in style and in form, very organic because it's made of recycled bottles, recycled glass. So another organic element that really reflects my client. One design tip that I would probably share, if you'll notice, everything in the room kind of has a high contrast and there's a darkness to the upper half of the space. To make your room feel lighter and airier when you're using dark color on the walls, consider what I call the fifth wall. This ceiling we painted in a real luminescent, soft sky blue. What that does is it creates sort of an infinitous feel, like there's no roof on the building. Hi, we're here in the living room, a room that you can really live in. A great example of mixing patterns successfully. One of the things that I employ on a regular basis is what we call the rule of 3 when mixing pattern. The modern wing chairs have a very large abstract pattern. The sofa has pillows in a lattice pattern that's more of a medium scale. And then we have some stools in the space that are a very small scale leopard print. Mixing the 3 together, large, medium, and small in the same color family, is a plan that you can follow that is flawless. Another little designer trick that we used in this space is because this is a darker room in the home, we wanted to give it a lighter, airier feel. And to do that, we basically took Roman shades and mounted them at the ceiling line. You'll also notice they have a very strong graphic pattern. That strong graphic pattern immediately attracts your eye and makes it go up. Anytime you can pull your eye up into a space, you've enlarged the room. We're here in the office. You'll notice that the animal theme continues with this beautiful upholstery on this sort of miniature chair, perfectly sized for the space. Miss Zelda, she's the homeowner's dog, but a great example of like the fun nature of her aesthetic, doing things that are a little different and unusual. One of the things that I really love about this particular space and our design direction was how to take this small space and make it feel larger. The built-ins are painted the exact same color as the wall purposely so that we push everything back, eliminate all of the corners. This is a great trick. When you're at home and you have a small space, don't go with the conventional wisdom of we have to paint it light. By going dark, by going deep, by going rich, you'll erase corners, you'll make a small space seem large. And we can't forget our 5th wall. In this particular space, did something a little fun. The wallpaper gives us an open, airy feel. It's metallic. It gives us a way to reflect light. Hi, we're here in the bathroom. This happens to be one of my favorite spaces in the remodel. This was a complete gut. The homeowner's goal was a space that was modern, kind of cool, edgy, but also paid homage to the 1940s character, of the home. A couple things that we did to make it special. All the walls are completely tiled. Instead of a standard subway tile, we decided to do an oversized subway. This gave it a little bit more of a modern feel, and the scale of the tile actually increases our visual volume in the space. One little detail, if you look very, very closely, you'll see that we did an exaggerated grout line. It creates more of a graphic sort of pattern on the walls, which again, fools your eye, makes the space feel larger. A really cool element, and this is becoming more of a trend, cement tile floors. These hand-painted cement tiles come in many different patterns. This happens to be called a rolling block pattern. Rolling block creates a 3D sort of visual that feels infinite and just makes a space feel larger. So if you have a tiny bathroom or a tiny hallway, think of incorporating something in a rolling block. It'll always make it feel larger. Lastly, one of my favorite things about doing a bathroom with a walk-in shower is eliminating the curb completely. By eliminating the curb, it allows you to extend the bathroom tile right into the shower, glass down to the floor, creating no barrier, and again, open, airy space. Always a winner.
David, thank you so much for that tour. The home was beautiful. I love what you did with it. And I know that David Lyle Home and Design has been a sponsor for the Renovators Home Tour since the beginning, so we really, really appreciate that.
It's been our pleasure to be a part of Habitat.
Well, that's it, folks. The 5th annual Renovators Home Tour is over. But before I send it back to Amy, I just want to remind everyone that you can make a donation to Habitat by texting Renotour to 44321 or going online to renovatorshometour.com to make an online gift. I would also like to thank everyone who was involved in this wonderful project, the homeowners for opening their doors, the team for the talented projects, Jesse at Station 1 Center for the Arts, the Home Tour Committee, and of course, our cameraman and restore manager, Ben. Now, I have to go get fitted for my spacesuit because I learned that we're doing a tour of the International Space Station next year. So back to Amy.
Hey, everyone. Don't go anywhere just yet. We have a few more messages that we want to share with you before we say goodnight.
I'm still chuckling over that $20 for a glass of lemonade bit. That just has me cracking up. But this year's Renovators Home Tour has been an innovative approach to trying to connect with you and sharing what a home can be.
And we have to give a huge shout out to Eastern Webcast Services. They brought you tonight to your screens, our show, into your homes. David, you nailed the details and you made our show shine, and I can't thank you enough. And also, another big thank you to Bill Dewan, our Director of Development. There he is right here. Bill wrote the script. He has been behind the scenes, adding social media and helping our committee be even better fundraisers. And Bill, thank you so much. You're a great friend and colleague. Thanks for your help with this.
Ditto 1,000 times. And on behalf of the tour committee and our board of directors at Habitat for Humanity, I wanted to say thank you for watching tonight's program and giving it a chance as we tried some new things. Shelter is merely a starting point, and Habitat for Humanity provides homeownership opportunities to low-income households in need of housing. Our home buyers help build and renovate their own homes, along with all of our volunteers. And they get, and at the end, when the home is completed, it's transferred to them with an affordable, zero interest mortgage. Although we have a lot of strong and generous donors that are institutional, our individuals and our small businesses are the core and heart of what gives and sustains our organization. And that's why we hold this event tonight. And we went through all the lengths we went to. The key now is putting somebody into a home so that they can thrive. Because of all the administrative costs of tonight's program have been covered, all of your gifts are going directly into Manny's house, all into the construction materials, all the overhead that's required to build that house to make it a wonderful home. Thank you. If you have not given already, please do so now.
And please share this video with friends that we can continue to raise money. If you enjoyed tonight, if you think affordable home ownership is important, tell people to watch it. We're going to have it up on YouTube so we can continue to raise money together and reach our $50,000 goal, which is not just a number that we came up with. This is what it takes to help renovate a Habitat home. This is part of what it takes to help renovate a Habitat home. So please share with your networks, with your friends, and help us reach that $50,000 goal. So thank you everyone for coming out tonight. We appreciate your support.
Thank you very much. We appreciate all of your support. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Bye.